Tonight, a penalty hearing for a Guelph police constable nearing its end, nearly a decade after an incident involving a teen in a hospital. The local buzz on electric vehicles.
Southwestern Ontario might have some pockets.
How a new national survey may not be reflecting the full story.
I'd like to see those survey results because they would probably be a lot different
here in Waterloo Region. Plus, royal reply.
I was blown away. I was like, is this legit? Is this real?
The Kitchener girl whose artwork...
The fact that it noted her splendid drawing and that the king passed on his warmest wishes was just unbelievably touching for her.
...is fit for a king. Good evening. Nearly a decade after a Guelph police constable elbowed a teen handcuffed to a hospital bed, the Police Services Act penalty hearing over the matter is nearing its end. And a warning, this story does include footage of the incident. Today, Corey MacArthur's lawyer argued that MacArthur should be allowed to return to the Guelph Police Service as an officer. CTV's Krista Simpson reports.
In September 2016, security cameras captured Guelph Police Constable Corey MacArthur being kneed by a teen who was handcuffed to a hospital bed. MacArthur responded with an elbow strike that left the teen's face bleeding. MacArthur pleaded guilty to assault in court in 2018 and to discreditable conduct at the start of his penalty hearing. The police service wishes to dismiss him. Tuesday, nearly 10 years after the incident, MacArthur's lawyer, Madeline Ross, made the case that he should be allowed to return to policing. The defense submits that when the full record is submitted, dismissal is disproportionate, Ross told the hearing. MacArthur has blamed what happened on undiagnosed, untreated post-traumatic stress disorder caused by years of things he experienced as a police officer, with the major triggering event being the death of his partner, Jennifer Kovac, who was responding to his call for backup when her cruiser collided with a Guelph transit bus. Ross says MacArthur has gone through treatment and recovery since 2016. The whole trajectory is one of acceptance, sustained treatment, remorse, rehabilitation, Ross described. She cited the testimony of a forensic psychiatrist who assessed MacArthur multiple times and supports his return to frontline policing, and urged the hearing officer to reject much of what was said by the forensic psychiatrist, brought in by Guelph Police to review MacArthur's files, but was not allowed to assess him in person. Dr. Peter Collins told the hearing, in his opinion, MacArthur's actions were an angry response that could indicate a pattern of aggression and not caused by post-traumatic stress disorder. Ross argued that Collins's evidence was unreliable, sometimes speculative, and he didn't always make clear how he reached his conclusions. Ross says what happened in that hospital room was serious, but this is not a case of prolonged, repeated self-serving misconduct, saying the case is not about excusing what happened in 2016, but rather deciding what the right response to it now looks like in 2026. Telling the hearing, Constable MacArthur is of further value to the police service and the community in general. This is MacArthur's second hearing on the matter, and it began in July 2024. There have been several delays along the way. After MacArthur's first hearing, he was ordered to resign within 7 days or be fired, a decision overturned on appeal, in part due to the finding the original hearing officer did not give enough consideration to MacArthur's PTSD in his written decision. Now, MacArthur's second hearing is nearing the end. Wednesday, the lawyer for the Guelph Police Service will make closing submissions about why MacArthur should be dismissed. Krista Simpson, CTV News, Guelph.
And some developing news we're watching in Guelph right now. One person is dead after being hit by a GO train this afternoon. CTV's Leanne Evans joins us now live with the latest. And Leanne, what do we know so far?
Well, Tony, it happened late this afternoon near the Central GO station. That's near Gordon Street and Waterloo Avenue. People are being asked to avoid that area. This is the scene at the train station just moments ago. Police tape is up as crews have blocked off the area. Orange Air Ambulance confirming to CTV News they were called to a crash between a vehicle and train, but that call was then canceled. Emergency services and GO Transit officials remain on scene near the station on Carden Street. GO Transit says trains are not moving through the area until a full investigation is complete. They're warning passengers there will be significant delays and possible cancellations and changes to schedules. And those delays have already begun. It's impacting the Kitchener GO train to Union Station route by nearly an hour and a half at this time. If you are commuting this evening, you can get updates on the GO Transit website. And just to note, this is the second fatal collision involving a GO train in Guelph in less than 2 months. Back in February, a man lost his life after being hit by a train in Guelph. Tony.
Okay, Leanne Evans with the latest on that breaking news from Guelph. Leanne, thank you. And time now for a first look at the weather. Let's head over to Ashley Bacon in studio with all of the details. And we didn't see a lot of sun today, but it also didn't really feel like it was going to rain. It was one of those weird kind of partly overcast days.
Yeah, it was a little bit cloudier than we expected first thing this morning. The sun really tried to make an appearance through the afternoon, but you definitely needed a jacket, Tony. It was a little warmer today than expected, but it felt cool because of the wind. We were only expecting a daytime high around 9-10 degrees, but we actually got up to 14. So it was warmer out there than we planned, but the good news is we aren't expecting any major precipitation, at least for the next couple of days. I wouldn't keep those umbrellas too far away, though. As we take a look at our radar, you can see there's a band of precipitation just south of us. Now, that might result in some spotty showers in some locations around Waterloo region, but we're essentially getting clear skies for your Wednesday and into Thursday. We're not expecting any rain, but, you know, you never know at this time of year, so keep those umbrellas close by, even though that sun is expected to shine. We are looking at a temperature of 14 degrees right now, so still quite warm out there. There is a southerly wind of 24 kilometers an hour, so it is feeling a little cooler with that wind, but around the region, temperatures right around the mid-teens for the most part. Winds are at 22 degrees, believe it or not, Tony. So get that sunscreen ready. We'll have details on what we can expect for the rest of the week coming up.
Okay, Ash, thank you very much. Premier Doug Ford says 6 inmates mistakenly released from Ontario jails are still at large.
It's unacceptable. No excuses. All the way through the ministry. We have to tighten it up. Can I sit here and say there'll be never a administrative mistake when they're in the courts or whatever? I wish I could. I can't, but are we going to tighten it up? Are we going to use technology? Do we need to use AI? Do we need to do anything? Because it can't happen again.
157 inmates were mistakenly released from Ontario jails over the past 5 years. The province's Solicitor General has apologized for previously stating that they were all caught immediately after being improperly released. And there's continued turbulence at Queen's Park around the province's purchase of a private jet for the Premier. Doug Ford confirming his government will be selling the plane, but he continues to face questions about the timing of the major investment. CTV's Siobhan Morris has more.
5 days after a shaky landing for the Premier on the purchase of a jet for government business, Doug Ford says he's sorry. Not for buying the $29 million plane.
I apologize for not communicating it properly. I still feel it was the right decision.
The Premier feels he's convinced more Ontarians of that. But he won't be making a double U-turn and keeping the 10-year-old Challenger. It's still for sale, even though he feels
it's kind of embarrassing that a province our size, geographically and economically, that we have no government plane.
Doug Ford's news conference baffled the opposition.
I don't think he gets it yet. And the reason he doesn't is because he is so out of touch with the people of this province.
The Premier confirms his cabinet endorsed the big buy unanimously.
It just shows you how out of touch and out of control and tired and worn out that this government is.
The Premier insists the jet wasn't for him alone. He envisioned the 12-seater being used to move firefighters or victims of disaster.
I want to evacuate the elder, the children or whatever. I know it's small, but if you can take 2 or 3 trips real quick.
A justification opposition leaders see as pure spin.
This jet can't even land at Billy Bishop Airport in downtown Toronto. How's it going to service Northern Ontario?
The Premier does have access to OPP planes, but Ford says they aren't always available. And the turboprop?
You can sit there and put your arm on the other side and touch the plane, and you're bouncing up and down, and I'm praying to God that we land. It's terrifying.
Ford says flying commercial gets complicated with flight delays and cancellations and security concerns from his OPP detail.
Guy got into the rocket field. Next thing you know, he's calling me names at 30,000 feet in the air.
No excuse, says Marit Stiles.
Well, grow up. You're the premier of the province. You don't think I get hassled occasionally? Big whoop. Big whoop. This is a privileged position that we have been given.
A position opposition leaders don't believe the premier is taking seriously.
That was CTV's Queen's Park reporter Siobhan Morris with that story. The head of CUPE Ontario is on leave amid an investigation into workplace climate allegations. CUPE Ontario says President Fred Hahn will be on paid leave for the length of the investigation. The union, which represents more than 300,000 workers, says an independent investigation began after allegations were made by a staff member. No details about those allegations have been released. CUPE Ontario says Hahn supports the investigation and that it will not comment further until the investigation is finished. Floodwaters continue to flow through the town of Minden Hills, Ontario, where a state of emergency remains in effect. Tonight, officials are opening a warming center to provide shelter and essential services for residents in need. CTV's Rob Cooper has the latest.
What a difference a day can make. Just ask people who live in flooded out Minden.
It's gotten a lot better this morning. Cautiously optimistic. We just hoping the river doesn't come back up again.
This is what it looked like along the Gull River on Monday. Today, a much different story. The state of emergency declared in the small town still remains, but residents and the fire chief say things have improved greatly since last night, but they're not out of danger just yet.
We're not completely out of the woods yet. Water levels will continue to fluctuate. If we do get more rain during the week, levels may come up a little bit, but things are moving in the right direction.
Sandbags remain piled up in front of homes and businesses. Flooded out roads are still an issue. The bridges in town will remain closed until further inspection, and life won't be back to normal for some time. But the town is working together, moving sandbags to new locations just in case. Many people volunteering their time to assist fire crews and residents.
I came out Tuesday night with a group, and then more people showed up, and there was, I don't know, probably 50 or 60 of us in our group at one point. And we all kind of worked together and just checked on people and saw who needed bags. And
this has just been a godsend. If it wasn't for the volunteers here in Minden, we would have lost our house and everything else. They're angels.
The mayor of Minden says the forecast is calling for a much-needed 5-day break from rain.
Forecast is for about a 5-day respite from the rain, and so that's given us a bit of a reprieve.
Now, the fire chief here in Minden says the state of emergency will remain in place here until at least next week. He says they will reevaluate that designation after the weekend. Meanwhile, property owners being encouraged to leave those sandbags where they are for the time being, just in case. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Minden.
And there's also danger from high water in several communities in Manitoba's Interlake region. Evacuations are underway in Peguis First Nation, about 200 kilometers north of Winnipeg. CTV's Alex Carpa traveled to the area to get a better sense of what it looks like.
Yeah, so this is my house.
Thousands of sandbags protect Angela Flett's home in Peguis First Nation, a community that is preparing for an incoming flood.
It took the crews here 3 days to prepare.
According to the province, over 500,000 sandbags and over 11,000 super sandbags have been sent to the community and placed around the some 225 homes in need of protection. As crews continue that work, the community has begun evacuating some residents, including those with medical needs.
3 of them left yesterday. The rest of them wanted to wait until today. And now today, only 3 of that remaining group want to leave. So the rest of them are going to be just staying back in the community.
Officials are keeping a close eye on the rapidly changing situation and will evaluate if the remaining residents with medical needs will have to evacuate in the next day or so.
Currently, it's just a day-by-day waiting game.
At this time, there are no current plans to evacuate more people, but leaders are preparing for that possibility. Flett says she is holding out hope she doesn't have to leave.
I'm probably not going to evacuate. I got to stay and watch my house because I said, who else is going to do it?
That determination is shared by Fred Sinclair, whose home is now surrounded by a mud dike.
I wouldn't go anyway, so not from the experiences I had last time. Went out, my niece helped me, we shot, bought enough groceries, everything I need.
Officials say there are contingency plans in place if more than 5,000 people here in Peguis have to evacuate. But for now, the community is staying put. Alex Scarpa, CTV News, Peguis First Nation, Manitoba.
A frozen frenzy in downtown Toronto today thanks to one of the city's most famous residents. Hundreds of people flocked to a massive ice sculpture containing the release date of Drake's latest album. And it appears fans have cracked the code. CTV's Jessica Smith reports.
Fans have been gathered around this massive ice structure at 81 Bond Street since Monday evening. Toronto streamer Kishka arrived mid-afternoon seemingly to help crack the code on this ice structure and what Champagne Papi, aka Drake's release date for his latest album, Iceman, is going to be. After a few minutes, the streamer revealed a blue waterproof bag. Toronto police asked the streamer to get down and asked the growing crowd to not climb the ice. He climbed down and took off in a waiting vehicle. Later in the afternoon, showing the contents of the bag online with a large picture book and the words Iceman, May 15th. Fans still waiting at the ice structure reacted to the news.
People were like shouting, open it. Even I was like excited to see the bag, like what's inside.
I said shout out to the marketing because it definitely has to do something. The market, like, yeah, it's the right place because look, it's full. So yeah, especially downtown also, yeah.
All right, that story from CTV's Jessica Smith in Toronto. And just ahead, another red flag about using AI for medical advice. Plus, the Brantford man who's making it big in the Buffalo Bills world. CTV's Alexander Hollick tells us why he's been named the team's International Fan of the Year and what he's going to get to experience because of it.
Well, despite temperatures going back to normal for overnight lows, you're going to want to bundle up. It's still going to be quite cool. Temperatures rising tomorrow, though. Those details with your full weather forecast coming up. Stay with us.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news.
An effort to tell the stories of those buried in unmarked graves in Oxford County has been given a provincial honor. CTV's Jerry Dewan has more on the Potter's Field project.
This monument was unveiled in June of last year, identifying about 400 people laying in unmarked graves in the Ingersoll Rural Cemetery.
Our goal has always been to recognize these community members who, for most of their legacy after they died, were not recognized or memorialized. We always wanted to center the individual.
Researchers from Western University, working with the cemetery board and local municipal governments, worked to tell their stories. That included using imaging techniques like ground-penetrating radar. Last week, the Ontario Heritage Trust and the province's Lieutenant Governor awarded the 15-member team an Excellence in Conservation Award. Debbie Johnson was chair of the cemetery board, which has since been dissolved.
I'm happy that we have been able to raise this monument and acknowledge all of these people.
The majority of those in this section of the cemetery struggled with poverty, racism, or other social challenges. Cody Grote says the stories behind the names on this monument offer an important lesson about society in our time.
When we give public presentations about the Potter's Field and those buried there, we talk about struggles with addiction or homelessness. We paint these vivid pictures of community members, and we see this sympathy from community members about what happened, but we really do contextualize it with what we're experiencing in town as well. Struggles with lack of transitional housing. We have encampments where community members don't have safe and reliable housing to this day.
They include people who were targeted with the Chinese head tax or those who were escaping slavery and Jim Crow policies in the U.S. Some American family members attended last year's monument unveiling.
I've made friends with Robin Moore from Chicago, Illinois, who has several family members buried here.
Johnson is hoping others will make the effort to include Potter's Field memorials in their cemeteries. In Ingersoll, Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
When it comes to getting quick medical advice, more and more Canadians are turning to AI tools like ChatGPT. But doctors are once again warning about the dangers, saying it can do more harm than good and put patients at risk. CTV's John Venevali-Rao reports.
I can do almost anything that could possibly be asked of me.
In videos posted by the Canadian Medical Association, doctors can be seen urging caution about the use of AI.
Do you ever use ChatGPT for health advice?
Something a lot of people do when they have a medical issue.
I think it's just a quick way to get a little bit of quick advice.
If my back starts hurting, I'm just going to go on ChatGPT, for example, and I'm going to be like, I did this and my back hurts. And then it's going to start giving me a whole list of things, and I'm just like, okay.
But physicians warning, while often free and fast, the advice can also be wrong.
If individuals decide to go online, I would say they have to be very curious and very cautious.
In a survey of more than 600 Canadian doctors, 97% said they'd had to intervene to prevent harm or address consequences after a patient followed false or misleading health information online, including from an AI.
So the problems are that the patient thinks they have one diagnosis when in fact they don't. They may have delayed treatment. They may have tried treatments that didn't work.
Some say they've turned to an AI because they don't have a family doctor.
I have a friend who would ask ChatGPT. Her reasoning was it's too much hassle to go, like book a doctor's appointment.
But the Canadian Medical Association says patients should always get a human expert to weigh in. In a recent study published in the journal BMJ Open, health questions were posed to 5 major AI models. 30% of the responses were deemed somewhat problematic. 20% were considered highly problematic.
They're not always accurate, and your best bet is to talk to a healthcare professional or at least understand the sources when you're online looking for information.
And while AIs continue to rapidly improve, experts say they still struggle to reason like a human doctor. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Live look outside now from Guelph on this Tuesday evening. A little bit of a overcast look everywhere across southern Ontario right now. We've had some pockets of sunshine today, but a lot of cloud cover as well. Ashley's back in just a couple of moments to tell us which way we're trending for the rest of the week. Also coming up, one win away. The KW Titans suddenly find themselves on the verge of a basketball Super League championship. We'll set up tonight's big game. And next, we're learning more about the gunman and the Canadian woman who was killed in a deadly shooting spree at a popular tourist attraction in Mexico. Ashley's here with our forecast, and I did notice some nice periods of sun today, but it was a little hazy, and it felt like the overcast theme of the day sort of won the tug of war today.
It did. There's a system bringing with it some precipitation south of us, Tony, and that's why we're seeing a little bit more cloud cover than originally expected for today. So it was a little cooler out there feeling, but actually temperatures got quite warm. We were sitting at about 14 degrees.
Better and better as the week's going on here.
That's the best news of it all. Get it while you can, because we are looking at a cooler, wetter weekend. So let's take a look outside at the moment at what Tony's talking about. You can see that sun is trying to peek through those clouds and those treetops a little bit there. It is not a bad afternoon. Now you can see the trees swaying ever so slightly. There is a bit of a wind out there, and again, that's what's causing it to be just feeling a little cooler than that 14 degrees out there at this hour. As we take a look at our future cast, it helps to paint a picture of what we're looking at. So this is all of that cloud cover. We're talking about just south of us near Sarnia, London. That's a bit of a precipitation band that's moving its way through. Now we might actually see some spotty showers first thing tomorrow morning. So this is just updated in the last hour or so, but likelihood not lasting very long. Just bring an umbrella just to be safe. We might see some, but by noon, clear skies are going to prevail. We are going to see a relatively clear Wednesday and Thursday. We will start to see some showers move back into the region on your Friday and into into Saturday. So get out and enjoy it while you can. As we take a look at what's happening across the country at this hour, 15 degrees in Vancouver. Very nice day in Prince George at 16. 21 with a mix of sun and cloud in Calgary. So very nice there as well. The Prairie Provinces looking pretty beautiful. 21 in Regina, 20 in Saskatoon, but check out Thompson, -1 with cloud cover. I feel like they're getting the short end of the stick there because Winnipeg is sunny and 18 as well. On the east coast near our nation's capital, we are looking at a cloudy day in Ottawa and 8 degrees, 9 in Montreal, 21 still in Windsor. So not bad. Over on the east coast, 1 degree in St. John's, -1 for Charlottetown. So sitting a little bit under seasonal temperatures there. As I mentioned, 14 degrees for Waterloo region, London as well. 21 for Windsor, so nice. I'm so jealous. Barrie, 9 degrees. Hopefully we start to see those 20s here very soon. Overnight tonight, temperatures are going down to 2 degrees. Normal for this time of year. We've had some pretty cold nights the last couple of days. At least we're staying above 0 and at seasonal. 20-kilometer-an-hour winds are expected through the overnight hours. Now tomorrow, things change a little bit. Temperatures expected to rise to 16 degrees. So as long as that wind stays nice and calm, it should feel at least 16, if not warmer, which is great news with that sun shining. And just as a reminder, normal for this time of year is around 13 degrees for a daytime high and 2 for an overnight low. So today we are sitting pretty much right where we should be for this time of year. Back in 1985, hitting a record of 27 degrees. So not quite as warm as that, but I'll take it over the -6.9 from 1981 any day. As we take a look at our 7-day forecast for Waterloo region, Thursday, quite a beautiful day, 17 the expected high with sunny conditions. A slight chance for showers returning by Friday and just 12 as a daytime high. And then Saturday, temperatures dip slightly below seasonal with a chance for rain and 8. So not too bad leading up to the weekend, but like I said, you're going to want to keep that umbrella handy. In Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar there, 20 tomorrow, 21 and sunny for Thursday, 18 on Friday with showers making a return for your Saturday. And lastly, in southern Georgian Bay, sunny conditions for your Wednesday, a high of 8 degrees, 16 for Thursday, 12 with a 30% chance for showers on Friday, and some rain expected for your Saturday, a high of 10 degrees. So sort of all over the place, Tony, but at least the sun is making more of an appearance this week than it did last week. Okay, let's take a look at today's Weather Watch. A picture sent in from Heidi, who snapped this photo this morning on her way to work just outside of Wellesley. I just love how the sky looks in this shot. It is beautiful. Thank you for sharing with us tonight, Heidi.
Yeah, that kind of tells you the story of the day today, right?
It really
the sun
does.
fighting with the clouds. All right, Ash, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, more insight today into the mass shooting yesterday at a popular tourist site near Mexico City. A gunman went on a rampage, killing a Canadian woman, wounding another Canadian, and 12 other visitors. Authorities say the attack was not spontaneous. The shooter came prepared. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has the latest.
Gunshots can be heard piercing through the air as screams echo from the base of the Teotihuacan pyramids as tourists run for cover. This all taking place at one of the most popular tourist destinations on the planet. The shooting was initially reported at 11:20 a.m. on Monday. This web camera recording of the historic site shows the first moments as visitors began to run for their lives. Let's go. A closer look shows the gunman pacing, holding the .38 caliber firearm he used to kill one Canadian. The deadly attack injuring at least 13 more, including a 29-year-old Canadian woman and a 6-year-old boy from Colombia. The Teotihuacan pyramids are located here, roughly 45 kilometers northeast of Mexico City, making it a popular day trip from Mexico's capital. The shooter has been identified as 27-year-old Julio Cesar Yasso of Mexico. Seen here carrying a backpack, Mexican authorities say inside they found pamphlets related to an infamous U.S. mass shooting.
A shooting up here at Columbine High School.
The Monday attack coinciding with the April 1999 anniversary of the Columbine High School massacre in Colorado, where 2 students opened fire, killing 13 classmates and 1 teacher. Today, Mexico's president shared her condolences with the family of the Canadian killed, as did Prime Minister Mark Carney.
We're working with Mexican authorities on the situation, but it's a sad day.
It's a day that many witnesses who survived are still coming to terms with.
Some of the tourists started screaming, ducking, and running.
While some ran, others jumped to a landing below, alongside the pyramid.
We kind of try to hold on with our hands and kind of extend our full body length and then let ourselves drop from there.
Following roughly 10 minutes of terror, the Mexican National Guard shot Ramirez in the leg as he climbed near the pyramid's peak. That's where he turned the weapon on himself and took his own life. With Mexico set to co-host the upcoming FIFA World Cup alongside the United States and Canada, there are now calls for tighter security measures in that country. Ottawa is calling on a prompt and thorough investigation. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Reaching across party lines to get ready for trade talks. Just ahead, the Prime Minister names a new working group before taking on trade negotiations with the U.S. Canadian interest in electric vehicles is rebounding, according to Auto Trader. The automotive marketplace says it comes amid improving affordability of those vehicles and rising fuel prices. But at least one expert suggests there's a big difference between interest in purchasing an EV and actually following through with it. CTV's Spencer Turcotte reports.
As people feel the pain at the pumps due to rising fuel costs, it seems drivers are looking for alternatives.
Now we're sitting at 49%, meaning that almost half of the Canadians that we surveyed stated that they might be interested in purchasing an EV as their next vehicle.
New data from Auto Trader suggests interest in electric vehicles is rebounding for the first time since 2022.
Let's think about what the federal government announced in the beginning of February,
suggesting the new EV and hybrid rebate program and commitment to more EV infrastructure is driving interest. And while there is hesitancy around the current charging availability as well as range anxiety, the cost of gas is what's really behind this shift.
As we all know, there's a situation going on between Iran and United States since February 28th.
But Dylan Meyer, business manager of quality car sales in Kitchener, says there is a big difference between people saying they're interested in going electric for their next vehicle and actually acting on that interest.
If they start weighing their options for pricing of electric car, installing a charger at their house, range for the electric car, and then of course the resale, I'd like to see those survey results because they would probably be a lot different.
Meyer adds that some Canadian cities may make more sense for going fully electric compared to others.
The hybrid or the plug-in hybrid vehicle definitely bridges the gap between a gasoline and a full electric. Southwestern Ontario might have some pockets where an electric car makes more sense, like downtown Toronto, but the vast amount of Ontario's population would prefer to drive a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid.
While EV sales on Auto Trader are up 38% year over year, some experts say it could take more time for interest to turn into sales in Canadian communities where charging infrastructure is more sparse. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Kitchener.
All right, recapping our top stories now. Leanne Evans in studio with us. And Leanne, almost the conclusion now of a penalty hearing for a Guelph police constable.
And it comes nearly a decade after Constable Corey MacArthur elbowed a teen handcuffed to a hospital bed. Today, his lawyer argued that MacArthur should be allowed to return to the Guelph Police Service as an officer, saying at the time of the incident, he was suffering from undiagnosed, untreated post-traumatic stress disorder. The police service, which wants to dismiss MacArthur, will lay out its case when the hearing continues Wednesday. One person is dead after being struck by a GO train near the Central GO station this afternoon in Guelph. People are being asked to avoid the area while the investigation continues. Orange Air Ambulance confirming to CTV News they were called to a crash between a vehicle and train, but that call was then canceled. GO Transit is warning passengers of delays and cancellations. The Kitchener line to Union Station is impacted by about an hour-and-a-half delay at this time.
Okay, Leanne, appreciate that. Update on that developing news and looking at what our web team is working on online. Details from a new study out of the University of Waterloo.
Right, and the study is related to fish who are living near wastewater plants. Researchers say they've detected drugs such as antidepressants and opioids in their systems. For more information on how the study was carried out, you can scan the QR code, download the CTV News app, or go to ctvnewskitchener.ca for that story and many more. Tony.
Okay, lots on the go from our team. Leanne, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Leanne Evans with our top stories. With Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. preparing for July's CUSMA negotiations, Prime Minister Carney today unveiled a new Trade Advisory Council, a group of familiar political faces, along with a mix of union, industry, and titans of finance. CTV's Mike LeCouture breaks down the mandate of this nonpartisan panel.
As the cross-border tensions ramp up in the playoffs, the Prime Minister is assembling his own team to enter the trade arena with the U.S.
I'm very pleased to have that group. It's a diverse group, leaders from the union movement, experts in industry.
Carney's reconstituted Canada-U.S. Advisory Committee brings together 24 CEOs, former politicians, and business leaders. Holdovers from the previous version include Unifor President Lana Payne, former Quebec Premier Jean Charest, and Flavio Volpe, President of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association. Now, there are plenty of new faces, including former Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole, the President of the Aluminum Association of Canada, Jean Simard, and the head of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce.
We can't forget about our small and medium enterprise businesses. That's 98% of our businesses, and so I look forward to sharing that perspective as part of the committee.
Hearing from people impacted by the Canada-U.S. trade war is key, according to the committee's chair.
I think it'll help our negotiations and it'll help the Government of Canada be informed in terms of these different perspectives.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre didn't criticize the committee, but he did take aim at the lack of progress in the negotiations.
He's done absolutely nothing on this file in the last year other than use it to stoke fear and distract from his catastrophic failings here at home.
So how far behind is Canada in negotiations? Well, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer is meeting with his Mexican counterpart to discuss CUSMA at the end of May. There are no such meetings scheduled for Canada and the U.S. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Later on CTV News, postmarked from the palace. A Kitchener girl's picture for the king gets an unexpected response. The KW Titans have a chance to win their first ever basketball Super League title tonight. The Titans are in Sudbury. It's Game 3 of a best-of-5 series. They're looking to knock off the defending champion Sudbury 5. Let's head to CTV's Colton Weens for the latest on this. And Colton, he had a chance to speak with the Titans owners this afternoon. The team was warming up. How are they feeling?
Well, Tony, they're feeling very confident tonight. David and Kate Schooley say the team bus got into Sudbury yesterday, and after winning the first 2 games at home, they hope to carry that momentum on the road tonight. The Titans won the first 2 meetings in the championship series, a strong 113-104 win in Game 1 on Thursday, then a much closer 95-92 win on Sunday. If the Titans win tonight, they would claim their first ever Super Lily trophy, but if they lose, they'll have 2 more chances at the title. KW has been in the finals before when they lost to London 2 years ago. The team's owners say this time is different as they're not the underdog, and it's shown over the first 2 games of the series.
Really excited and anxious.
Everybody's worked really hard. The players and coaches are locked in. We can feel the love coming from the city, and we're ready to bring this home.
We've never had a team on the court like this team before, so it's exciting and scary all at the same time.
Now, to tip off for Game 3 is just a few minutes away, and a watch party is being hosted at Edelweiss Tavern in Kitchener tonight. Again, the Titans can win their first Super Lily with a win tonight. If they need a Game 5, that will be back here in Kitchener on the 29th. Tony.
Everyone hoping no more will be needed after tonight. Colton, thanks so much. We'll keep an eye on that throughout the evening. Well, many people in Southern Ontario may claim to be major Buffalo Bills fans, but one Brantford man now has a title to prove it. Daryl Russell has been recognized as the team's International Fan of the Year and will take the stage in this year's NFL draft pick. CTV's Alexandra Hollick has more on his claim to fame and his family ties to the franchise.
The jacket and I got the pants.
Darryl Russell is suiting up in his Sunday night football best. The perfect shade of Buffalo Bills blue, fit for a superfan.
Everyone knows. If they think of me, they know, that's the Bills guy.
The Bills know it too, naming Russell as the team's International Fan of the Year.
And then when they told me, I admit, I started to tear up and I cried. I cried a bit because I think of my brother.
His brother Jason introduced Russell to the Bills in the early 90s.
I started to watch and then I'm like, okay, I'm getting hooked.
Russell says his love and loyalty never wavered, even when the team saw a 17-year drought.
This is painful, but I love it. I mean, I love him that much. Like, I'm a little bit over the top, as you can tell.
From signed jerseys.
This one here is an actual autograph from Josh Allen.
To superstitious pregame rituals.
I don't watch games with anybody unless they're a die-hard fan, then they can come here.
Russell says he takes pride in his new title, which comes with special perks. As part of his recognition, Russell will represent fans in Pittsburgh at the NFL Draft later this week.
I get to go on stage, say a draft pick, and announce the player. So that's exciting. I just, so.
Paying tribute to a shared passion 11 years after his brother's battle with cancer.
I think it's a little sentimental too because I wish my brother was here, obviously, to share it with me. Sorry, but yeah, it's been amazing.
A touching moment for the touchdown of a fan's lifetime. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Brantford.
That is a super fan. All right, Ash, over to you.
That is an incredible fan, is what I would call it, Tony. Okay, tomorrow morning it's going to be cooler, but warmer than today. Those details after this break. Stay with us. Start your night off with E-Talk at 7, followed by The Big Bang Theory. Then Will Trent at 8, RJ Decker at 9, and cap your night off with High Potential at 10.
I'm Andrew Johnson at BC Wildfire Boot Camp. Hauling gear up this hill, one of the many tests facing new recruits.
Good job, you guys.
I've never worked so hard for anything in my life.
Which critical skills can make the difference between life and death? Tonight on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
Bounce 99.5 has the music you just can't quit. Home of Bounce Mornings with Angie Hill and Sarge. KW's Bounce 99.5. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app.
All right, Leanne's back as we watch some developing news heading into this evening. Leanne.
Yeah, Tony, we have an update on that developing story we've been following out of Guelph. One person is dead after being hit by a GO train this afternoon. GO Transit warning of significant delays, but we did just receive an update. The investigation has ended and trains are once again moving through the central GO station area. There is still about a 30-minute delay from Union Station to the Kitchener GO westbound. At 11:30, we'll also hear from a witness who lives nearby the train station and saw the crash happen. Tony.
Okay, Leanne, thank you for that and for those updates throughout the hour on that situation. And Ashley's back with our wake-up forecast for Wednesday. Is this trend of slight temperature improvement continuing?
Yes, but you will need a light jacket at least for the morning. Tomorrow's going to be a day of layers and potentially have an umbrella on hand. We might see some spotty showers, but overall conditions not too bad. Might be a bit foggy if you're an early riser and on the roads, so do take care. But by 10 o'clock, 13 degrees. I almost said by 13 o'clock. By 10 o'clock, 13. So not too bad. And by noon, we should be getting up to around 16. So nice and warm for tomorrow.
I grew up in an army town. 1300 makes sense to me. That's 1 o'clock. But I like it better on the temperature side.
Absolutely.
I finally got my winter tires taken off today, by the way.
Oh, I have not done it yet.
Well, I was going to say.
I'm late in the season.
In any other year, this would feel late, but the cold weather has made it seem not so late this year.
No, it hasn't, and I'm still on my to-do list.
On the list. Finally for us tonight, a royal surprise for a young girl from Kitchener. A 5-year-old's passion for drawing paid off in an unexpected way after she sent some of her art to Buckingham Palace.
CTV's Karis Mapp has the story.
The happiest day due to an unexpected regal response. Grace Connell, like many 5-year-olds, loves to create art and draws inspiration from the world around her.
I just think of something what I could draw and then I draw it on a paper.
So when the royal family piqued her interest, she began her research.
I was asking Mom how I wanted to know how old they were, and then I knew, but when I went to school the next day, my friend was there, and I drew something with her.
With hopes of the picture making it overseas to King Charles himself.
It was actually a drawing of a king and queen and princess that she sent. I didn't take a picture or anything of it because I honestly didn't think we'd get anything back. So I just addressed it to Buckingham Palace and put 6 stamps on it and sent it with our home address.
Sent at the end of February, Grace would then ask her family to check the mailbox every week to see if she got a reply.
After a few weeks, I'd thought maybe I should, use ChatGPT or something to draw up a letter and mail it to her on behalf.
An idea that turned out to be unnecessary.
She had asked to check the mail one more time, which reminded me I hadn't sent the letter. We went to the mailbox with my nephew, and sure enough, there was a letter addressed from the Queen and King, their correspondence, Buckingham Palace, addressed to Grace.
The Queen and King!
I was blown away. I was like, is this legit? Is this real?
And it was real. A personalized letter from the head of royal correspondence, thanking the young girl on behalf of the royal family. According to Buckingham Palace's website, the king has shown almost all of the letters he receives and takes a keen interest in hearing from the public.
The fact that it noted her splendid drawing and that the king passed on his warmest wishes was unbelievably touching for her and for us.
Meanwhile, Grace says her favorite part has been her family's reaction.
Like being proud of me.
Kara Smapp, CTV News, Kitchener.
That is so cool.
Way to go, Grace.
Way to go.
Cool.
Reminds you of that moment when you got your first big piece of mail when you were a kid. Mine was from Archie Comics.
What would you do if your friend at school brought that in as show and tell?
Oh, that's
Could you
the item of the year.
imagine? Yeah.
That's the show and tell of the year.
Absolutely.
We'll see you at 11:30. Have a good night.